Welcome to the Dog Chug, Roger. Whoa. What is Ed? Ed sitting in the Ross chair tonight. Welcome to the Dog Chug, Ed.
What's up, my guys? Great to be back. Dog Chug alum. Had a little bit of this Mountain Dew, hard Mountain Dew, trying it for the first time. Ooh. So went on the Dog Chug, win in Rome. You got to do what the Romans do. So looks like I'm getting drunk tonight. Let's have some fun, guys.
Wow.
All right.
I am on vacation, so Ed was gracious enough to fill in his seat and play producer this week, which is awesome because I need a lot of help. And Ed, you're not going to do anything in the producer role.
That's correct.
So when the show sucks, it's because I'm doing a poor job trying to manage. Roger, how's it going tonight?
I'm just excited that Ed's here. You know what? It's been crazy baseball since last Wednesday. Since we last met, we had one day off from baseball with all the rain makeup from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, Saturday we played. It's been nuts. So I'm glad Ed's here. I'm glad he's got some hard Mountain Dew. And I think we're having a good show.
Yeah, we got a great guest. Roger, what are you drinking tonight?
What do I got? I got the Hazy Beer Hug. It's Goose Island IPAs.
Wow.
This one's a 7. It's a Beer Hug 12-pack.
Okay.
It's a variety 12-pack, and it's got from 6.7 all the way up to a 9 point something. So.
Well, that is fascinating. Yeah. I hope you get accidentally drunk tonight. We've had a big week getting down to our 53-man roster. A lot of nonsense going on X out there. People talking about it, speculating about it, but we're not going to do that because we're not annoying. We're just going to entertain you. We're going to give you the Dog Chug updates.
There we go.
So, Ed, since you're filling in for us, I think you are up, my friend.
That's right. The Dog Chug update. The Cleveland Browns traded backup tackle to New England for running back Pierre Strong Jr. And wow, every podcast and Cleveland article was breaking this guy down for hours. Cleveland Browns, the only fan base that can spend 1 million collective words talking about the third string running back who will get like only 40 snaps this season.
Ooh. All right. Thousands of Browns fans have declared the general manager of the Cleveland Browns has no clue what he's doing for cutting Michael Dunn and Austin Watkins yesterday. But then 24 hours later, AB proved all these internet tough guys, wannabe geniuses, don't know what they're talking about, and are frauds when he promptly signed Dunn back to the roster, and the other 31 teams passed on adding Watkins. Usually right here's where we'll insert a joke, but this is just a reminder that while all of us have to fill a lot of space on these dumb podcasts, when the season starts, 98% of us don't know what the we're talking about.
Wow. It was hoped the Browns could get Cade York onto the Browns practice squad so that perhaps at a later date he could find an opportunity to rejoin the team mentally in a better place, or maybe even he could be brought to camp next season where his raw talent could be harnessed. Instead, he opted to join the Tennessee Titans practice squad. Go figure. It's like when for a month straight, every single person in a city says you suck and you should be fired. You choose to get a fresh start elsewhere. Hey, Ed, that reminds me. Maybe your life would get back on track if you became Ed in Tennessee.
The San Francisco 49ers traded third-string quarterback to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth-round draft pick, and Kyle Shanahan is proving he's even more adept at getting fired by botching 3 first-round picks a year later without having to create a 32-slide PowerPoint presentation. In other news, the Cleveland Browns are building their case to release Deshaun Watson and lose all that money in draft picks, and there is, in fact, precedent that a move could be botched so poorly.
All right. The Cleveland Browns have traded for Chargers kicker Dustin Hopkins. And in the last 48 hours, this fan base has celebrated his average career, written poems about how amazing he will be in the brown and orange, discovered he's clutch in the final 2 minutes of football games, determined that he's kind of a weirdo for declining to move to the east side. He decided to move to the east side, evaluated his lack of tipping habits when he was using Grubhub, pronounced that he's un-American for driving a Toyota, realized he's a poor teammate because he chose a locker that wasn't next to anyone, calculated he's on the spectrum because his social media posts have too many exclamation points, and concluded he's a terrible kicker that was getting lucky in domes and has no chance in Cleveland. Then the Browns, not wanting any additional kicker drama, they're finalizing his replacement and will make a move tomorrow.
Wow. Both Denzel Ward and Cincinnati Bengal rival Joe Burrow returned to practice today. Now, it was pointed out that Ward has recovered from his 4th concussion and Joe Burrow from his calf injury, and if Ward was happy that both teams looked to be at full strength before their matchup in 11 days. Ward laughed it off and said, "You think I care we're at full strength? Look at this." And then he bashed his skull 3 times against a nearby concrete column, and in between throwing up said, "There's concussions 5, 6, and 7, and I'm still going to destroy that cracker." Whoa. And now we have Roger's top 10.
Oh, I wasn't ready. I didn't know we were doing it that quick. Slow down. Let's take a sip of beer here. Gather
Roger's sipping
ourselves.
again. Roger's sipping again.
All right. We're looking for, man, we had a couple good ideas this week for top 10, and I didn't want to pick on the kicker. He's gone. We scratched that. We had a couple other ideas. But tonight we got the top 10 reasons this is going to be our year. Right here, top 10 reasons this is going to be our year. Number 10, the 10,000 nerds on social media and YouTube, Browns podcast says it's our year. Number 9, it's elementary, Watson. We have a franchise quarterback. Guess who wrote that one?
Might have been me.
Number 8, the usher at the Taylor Swift concert had on Ross the Sock Boss socks.
Yeah.
So there's a good sign. Number 7, Jimmy Haslam is less active in Berea. All his efforts are devoted to finding Columbus homeless people to run Columbus Crew Draft. So number 6, Joe Woods no longer wandering around aimlessly around the facility with a "kick me" sign taped to his back. So that's a good sign. Number 5, Myles Garrett's now driving a Prius. So he's safe. Number 4, Nick Chubb not expected to go on to witness protection during third downs. Number 3, there are no average quarterbacks living in the basement of the stadium making bad insurance commercials. So that's good. Number 2, Dog Chug Epic Season 3 begins next week. There's a good reason. And the number 1 reason this is going to be our year, Andrew Berry, Rakin, Elf at midfield, Jim Schwartz wide 9, Ross the tailgate boss in the Muni, B-Bird, OG, RT, and BJ Spaces, all the dog pound, and Nick Carnes like a goddamn runaway hype train. You can bet your sweet ass this is our year this year.
Wow.
And those are the top 10 reasons that
Roger,
this is our year.
Getting started drinking early tonight. Well done. You were killing those reads.
We kind of zipped through that beginning.
Well, we got to move it fast because we got a lot to do tonight, and I'm
Caught me
very
off guard.
excited about this. We're gonna play a little game featuring Ed and Columbus. Everyone's glad that he's back. We used to do something called what was it? What was our little game we played with you before?
Ed School.
Ed School. This is sort of in the vein of Ed School, but you're gonna actually get to compete against Roger, which is super exciting. We're gonna bring on Judge Sherry.
Okay.
Welcome to the Dog Chug, Sherry.
Hello.
You're gonna help us in this game. So we're going to play something called Chug the Interruption. What I'm going to do is, I'm the moderator. I'm going to ask a question to these wonderful guys, and they're both going to have to, whatever the first position is, the second guy that goes has to take the opposite position. Even if you don't believe it, you have to make a compelling case because Sherry's going to judge who had
Yes, I am.
a more compelling answer. Now, you want to be quick, you want to be concise, but you also want to get a little meaty with your answer. You want to make sure you're making a convincing argument because that's how Sherry's going to judge.
Yes. Evidence-based.
So I think we should make Roger go first because that way, Ed, you'll have a little bit of an advantage since you're sort of the guest. And if you do well in this, Ed, you will be in line to win a shirt from Homage, our great
Which I am wearing right now, by the way.
Nice.
Me too, or Can I win it, or is it just
No,
Ed?
you can't win because you're technically part of the show. But you can prevent Ed from winning, which would put someone else in line to win the shirt. So, you know. All right. So, Roger, I'm going to start with you. I'm just going to ask the question. You can pick whichever side of this you want. It's totally up to you. But whatever side you pick, then Ed has to argue the opposition. Okay.
All right.
So, I want you to explain. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be successful this season with the New York Jets and lead them to the playoffs?
Yes. And it's the fact that he has the same system that he ran in Green Bay. He's going to bring Nathaniel Hackett. He's going to be calling the plays, and he's going to be able to play much faster right out of the gate. And yes, I think he's going to be successful. All
right. Ed?
Absolutely not, because the Cleveland Browns will beat them later on in the season. Also, I think Aaron Rodgers will get stuck in a dark room and send out dick pics like Brett Favre did when his did in New York.
Whoa. Hey now.
Hey now.
All right, Cherry.
Okay. Roger's answer is spot on, in my opinion.
Whoa.
You got to go with what you know.
Okay.
I mean, if he's setting up the Jets to win, the Jets are going to win. And that's all I know.
All right. I think the problem, Ed, is she's a Jets fan. And anyway, we'll ask a question about the Browns, make it a little easier. We're going to go to whoever wins is going to get to go first next time. So that way the person that's losing it has an advantage. Roger, will the Browns have a top 10 defense this year?
Yes. Jim Schwartz has an elite talent on all three levels of that defense. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Thornhill in the back end of it. And I think even Usu Koromoa can be elite in this defense. The D-line will be disruptive, and the linebackers are going to shine.
Ed?
Well, since I have to say no, they'll be 11th.
All right, Sherry.
Okay. Roger's evidence is super solid. He's been paying very close attention. So I'm going with Roger on this one.
I mean, Ed, you got to put a little more attempt into it than they're going to be 11.
Ed's already mad at you.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't have the best positions here. I mean, I have to say no. So 11th is the best I can do.
Maybe that question didn't work out, but we'll see how it goes. And listen, even if you have to help out the side of your ass, you're really good at that.
Well, two number ones. 11th is two number ones.
I knew this was going to go south quick.
All right, let's move on. Will a Cleveland team win a championship within the next 3 seasons? And we're talking the Cavs, the Guardians, and the Browns. Roger.
Yes, the Cleveland Guardians are going to win the World Series, the 2025 World Series.
All right, Ed.
No, it'll be 4 years.
Okay, Sherry, why are you judging on that one?
Positivity is extremely important, Ed. So Roger's displaying sound-minded positivity. And in my humble opinion, I'm going to have to go with Roger on that one.
I will say, I do object to that positivity. I could only be as positive as saying the Browns would be 11th because I couldn't say they're top 10. I could only say they could win a championship after 4 years instead of 3 years. I can't be any more positive than what I was. I had the opposition position as, but I will say this. Cleveland, you will get a championship in 3 to 5 years. We have young, fun teams. I think we're going to, do something with the Browns. Obviously, I think the Browns actually have a chance to win a championship first. I think the Guardians are maybe 2 to 3 years away. I think the Browns could shock the world and do it this year. Is that positivity or what, Sherry?
It sure is. Okay. It sure is.
Well done, Ed.
Wow.
Let's see how you do on this one. Roger, we're going to start with you, of course. Is it time for the struggling Guardians to move on from Jose Ramirez?
Absolutely not. No. Next question.
Ed.
Yes, because he should join Jake Paul and Logan Paul and become a professional fighter and be like Stipe and win championships that way, because I think the Guardians are going to win with pitching, and they're still, like I said, 3 to 4 years away anyway. So let's get Jose out there representing Cleveland in the best way possible put the Dukes up.
Wow. Okay. So he's saying we should cut him so that he can go out and represent us some other way. Sherry, how do you like that answer?
Well, from what I understood, which not a lot of baseball, not a big baseball person. I consider my baseball knowledge to be based on what Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it today, and whoever's articles make sense. So I'm gonna have to go with something that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm ruling in Roger's favor because he's.
I mean, Ed, you couldn't have said we could get a ton of like big package of players. We could get what we need. I mean, you could have said something. Anyway, we'll move on. Do the Browns need to, Roger, this one's coming to you. Do the Browns need to be more diverse in their hiring practices and hire more women and minorities?
I mean, what's more diverse? No, I think they're doing a great job leading the league. They got female position coaches. They have a black GM. What more can they do?
All right, Ed.
Of course, they should hire all women. You know, if you want something done, ask a woman to do it, like Nikki Haley said last week at the convention or the whatever. I didn't even watch it, whatever. But anyways, so that's what I'm saying. Women. Everybody's inclusive. DEI for everyone. This is the culture we live in. So yes. No, men are bad. Men are bad.
Okay. I don't need to process that one.
Hire dogs too.
They do have dogs. They have
there are many dogs involved. Many.
Swagger, but they need more.
Swagger Junior.
Yeah.
Like
All
a
right,
dog. Okay.
How
Gotcha.
did that one hit you? How was Judge Sherry doing?
Roger.
Did you hear what that Ed just said?
He said
Anyway, beside the point. I'm going to go with what I know and what I trust in here. So I am going to have to go with Roger on that one.
Wow.
She don't trust women. I said hire all women. She don't trust women.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay, we got to move on. Is it time for the Browns to put the elf on the logo of the helmet? Is it time to put the elf on the helmet? Roger.
No, it's classic. Shouldn't be touched. It's iconic. It's known worldwide. Don't touch the helmet.
Good answer, Ed.
Put the elf on the shelf, but don't put it on the helmet. I got to put it on the helmet, so put it on the helmet. Get it off the shelf, put it on the helmet. I have to pick that position.
Okay.
You should do like 3 reviews in a row and then have her judge them.
Yeah, that's true. Sherry.
Yes.
How are you rolling?
Ed gets that one.
Oh,
wow, Ed, you win that one.
Yeah.
All right. So Ed, I'm going to ask you now. You go first. Is Deshaun Watson going to have a good season?
Deshaun Watson is going to have a great season. He's going to be a quarterback that throws for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. You're going to hear Jim Donovan on Sunday screaming, and another touchdown for Deshaun Watson. So, yes, I think he's going to have a breakout season, maybe even better than MVP season of 1980 for Brian Sipe.
Wow.
There you go.
Roger.
Which one we on?
We're on, is Deshaun Watson going to have a good season? And Ed said that he's going to have an MVP season. So, yes.
So I got to say opposite.
That's how the game works.
Yeah, now he knows how I feel.
No, he's going to be bottom of the league passer. He's going to be broken Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, okay. And everyone's
so depressing, Roger. You're so depressing.
Everyone's asking where Brian is. I just want to say he'll be on as soon as we end this stupid game. We're almost done.
Yeah.
Here, who wins that round?
Okay, hold on. Let it marinate. Give me count to 3, and I'll give you an answer.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right. I am gonna go with Ed on that one because sometimes
squirrel finds a
Ed
nut.
wins.
The next statement, let's make this snappy since everyone wants to get to Brian.
Yes.
Is Ed in Columbus annoying? Ed, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Is that your answer? Roger,
Yes, I am.
is Ed in Columbus annoying?
Is Ed in Columbus annoying?
That's the question.
No,
you
he's
gotta
a
use.
delight. He's an absolute delight. You're talking about annoying.
Sherry?
I enjoy his company whenever I can obtain it.
Okay, Sherry, quickly.
Yes. No, Roger wins on that one.
Okay. All right, next statement. Roger's one, I guess, is coming to you. Should marijuana be federally legalized for recreational use?
Yes, absolutely. Should be. It helps everybody with pain, anxiety. It's better than all the pills the pharmaceutical companies are pumping at you. Jesus growth, Jesus made it. What can be
All right.
better than that?
Ed.
Just like all things, I believe in states' rights, so I do believe it should be legalized, but I believe it should be done by the states.
Okay. Sherry?
You know I trust science more than anything else on this planet. So I'm going to have to go with Roger on that one.
Roger, you win that one.
Even
Two more.
Jewish girl.
Bear with us. When the Browns eventually build a new stadium, Rogers is coming to you. Does it absolutely need to have a dome? Roger.
Jesus, I don't care. Yes, I think they do. It'll generate more revenue, and I think we'll have better football though. I think it'll be better football. Everybody, it's great playing in the slop, but no, it's really not.
Absolutely not, because I'm sick of people calling me a pussy on Twitter because they say I want a dome.
Sherry.
Okay, logic always wins over passion. So Roger wins. Give me a dome. I'll sit there and get.
Okay.
the
We got
factor.
one more. The Dog Chug is the best Cleveland Browns podcast out there. Roger, we're starting with you.
We were up until about this bit started, and we're great and we're innovative. And I'm a goddamn delight myself. But no, there's some better ones out there. We're probably not the best.
All right,
You
Ed,
think,
is the Dog Chug the best?
Only if I'm on it. No, I have to say no.
Wait,
I already said no.
Oh, you said no. Then I said yes because I'm on it. Then fine.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
I don't know.
You're terrible at this game.
I feel
Right.
for you, Roger. I feel for you right now.
Gary?
Yes.
I guess I would say Roger wins that one too, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Sherry, for judging. We've realized Ed's not very good at this game, so I think we need to go a couple more
It's
rounds of
not
Ed's
the
score.
game. It's
Poor
Yeah,
BG,
terrible
is
job.
he sleeping?
All right,
You
we're
see
going to say
him in
goodbye
the
to
green
Gary
room?
for a little bit. I think we're going to have you back on soon. And let's bring on our featured guest, the great Bryan. He's in from Spaces. Welcome to the Dog Chug, Bryan.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
We are so much better now that you're on. Sorry for making you wait through that nonsense.
No worries, man. No worries.
Ed
It's
likes
an
to be
honor to
featured.
be here.
He likes to be featured, or he, cries a little bit. So
Not Ed.
not me.
Not Ed.
We don't get Ed on as much anymore, so when we do get him, we like to play games with them and mess with them a little bit. So thank you for sitting through that for us. And
I totally understand.
how's it going, man? Tell us about Spaces. Tell us what you do, man.
It's going good. As a lot of people know, we just went through a little storm down here in Florida, but we're all good where I'm at. So family's doing real well, so on and so forth. The Spaces have been fun. It's just trying to build a community for the Browns fans to join in and get some good content. Thank you. So on and so forth. Get their opinions and their viewpoints out. We're doing really well with it. It's been a lot of fun.
nice. And you were describing before we got started that you like to come on and kind of refute what the radio shows say sometimes.
Well, I mean, look, everybody has their opinion. I get it. But when you start just throwing things out there to throw things out there, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, I try to apply common sense to everything that I process before I say something. And a lot of times, some of the things that you hear out there is just kind of crazy. So I try to bring it back home a little bit and make a little more sense to the people, to the fan base, because you can't believe everything you hear, number one. And I think on the surface, because a lot of people don't like to peel the onion back, you hear what you hear from your media outlets, and that becomes an opinion right away. So I try to not change it, but give a little bit more perspective and give a little bit for more people to think about versus just taking it in and then rolling with it. Like the Browns are the Browns. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of talking about the past. Today is today. Tomorrow is tomorrow.
Yep.
Yesterday don't mean nothing anymore. Once you get past it, all you can do is learn from it and move on.
Right. Other than a good punchline in the top 10, I really don't talk about the past.
Exactly.
Myself,
There you go.
Well, BG, since Andy mentioned how you like to go up against radio hosts and have different opinions and everything, let's play a game. Since I like games, I'm going to give you 5 Cleveland personalities. Give me one word to describe them. Aaron Goldhammer.
Oh my God! Don't do that to me on YouTube. Don't do that to me. That's so wrong.
Nobody watches this show, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Aaron Goldhammer, are you
Aaron
really
Goldhammer.
Seriously?
Yeah. One word, just sum them up.
He's a character. I mean,
You should have prepared me for this. I would have had better
Well,
answers.
Pesky.
that's a good one.
Pesky.
he likes
Shoe
to,
fly.
Shoe
fly. How about that?
I'm trying to be nice.
Well, he does his job very well. He gets people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
Heel.
does.
It's a heel.
Man,
He's a
he gets
heel.
people going.
Unnerving.
Unnerved. Okay.
Unnerving.
Ken
There you go.
Carman.
Antagonist, too.
Unnerving.
Ken Carman. That's a good one.
Ken Carman.
Entertaining.
He's
Tony
the best.
Grossi.
Tony Grossi. Unnerving. There you go. Trying to be polite and political.
Daryl Ryder.
Depends on the day, I guess. If you really want to know the truth.
I think that's enough said.
Yeah, depends on the day. There you go.
And last one, sports board Tony Lima.
Oh my God. Unnerving. There you go.
There you go. There's BG with your hot 5 at 5.
I was trying to say they have a very tough job. They gotta talk sports for 5 hours a day or whatever constantly. There's not that much stuff to talk about. So it's their job to kind of get you, feeling something, and they do their job well sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I think you have to go into it knowing that like a lot of the things they're saying, agendas, it's not like don't take the bait sometimes. Understand what they're doing. Right?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I understand that there has to be, like a two sides of it, like create the narrative and the atmosphere to keep people interested. I get it, but sometimes there's some things that are just said that are like, are you serious? Are we really serious right now? Like, I'll give you an example. There was a time that really stood out to me. A certain person on the radio said, where he was comparing the Deshaun Watson decision to bring him in to the Johnny Manziel decision. Okay, what are we supposed to expect here? This same owner brought in a Deshaun Watson the same way he brought in a Johnny Manziel. How do we expect this to succeed? And I'm like, how does that even correlate?
It does.
No,
I mean,
Sure.
but when you start bringing stuff up like that, it's like, you lose me. I mean, explain the correlation there. And that's when I get on the spaces and I start, expressing my frustration with it.
Yeah.
Instead of really understanding what the content is, that's a narrative that could be spun out there. And a lot of fans can run with that, right? And say, oh my God, this is going to be a bust because they brought in Johnny Manziel before and that didn't work. And look at all the issues that he had and that he came from, yada, yada, yada. And then you start putting all those pieces of the puzzle together and then boom, there you go. So I don't know. I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think like that's part of it. Like if you're doing a space with like, a couple hundred people, I feel like you're going to get more truth there than you would get on a radio show where they're trying to get, they're trying to
Create a buzz.
Someone that's just kind of just giving their feelings without any spin or nonsense, they're probably not going to be the most successful. To talk to that many people, I think you kind of have to like say something that you don't actually believe, but it's going to get people fired up and people are going to be talking about you. I think there's a lot of that going on. So one of the cool things I think that we're doing with social media and spaces is you can go into a place with Bryan and hear his thoughts about what you just heard. Whatever fool on the radio just said, and you can kind of come back down to reality a little bit. So
the great thing with spaces, Andy, is we don't all agree. Okay,
sure.
So just like Lima and Ken will go at it, we kind of go at it ourselves in these spaces. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of common sense applied, right? So you got this side opinion, and then you got this side's opinion. But a lot of the time, not all the time, okay, because I think people have to understand it's okay to disagree. That's okay. We're all entitled to our own opinions. We're all individuals. We have that right. But if we could make sense of it and we could find a middle ground on it, then I think we could move forward as a fan base and still have that enthusiasm about our team, even though we may not agree. And I think that's what separates the spaces from the radio. Because the radio is going to give you their narrative, their views, their opinions without any rebuttal from anybody. And sometimes it could be so off base. Again, there's certain people in the fan base that can just run with that. And then, you know what? The whole season's a disaster. This isn't going to work. Cade York's going to cost us a game. Deshaun's going to be a $230 million bust and blah, 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 blah. You guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. We make fun of it every week.
Yeah.
We come out here and we make fun of it every week.
Yeah.
That was very well.
And at the end
all
of the day,
ridiculousness of it, that's what Dog Chug's all about, is making fun of that and calling it out and doing what we do.
Right. And at the end of the day, in the spaces and space world, we don't all agree, because if we did, it would be boring anyway. Right. So you get spirited conversations, you get spirited results, actually, and you get a good amount of thoughts and feelings from everybody. And what I try to do is bring it all together, pull it all together, and bring everybody together, so it's like a unity type deal. So that's what I'm trying to do for the fan base.
I'm chugging to that. That's an awesome message. I love that.
I was listening last night. I went in and listened, and you guys were oh man, it was wild. It's a wild west in there. It was awesome. I just sat back and you guys were talking about Stefanski and the offense. You're talking about how Haslam, stayed out of it. Just what a good owner he is. Say what you want about the guy, but he's going to spend the money to win. His top priority is to win. But I don't do the space as much. But last night I was just sitting back. I had the Guardians on TV, and I was listening to you guys talk football.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, on Jimmy Haslam, listen, a lot of people will criticize him, tear him down, this, that, the other thing. He's been a terrible owner. He fires everybody, this, that, the other. Okay, I understand that. I get that. Okay, but the one thing you could say about him, he hasn't quit. And he's paid for a lot of his mistakes. There's no question about that. He made mistakes with Banner. He made mistakes with Farmer. He made mistakes with, the list goes on and on. You guys know the names. But he didn't quit. Right. And the one thing that Jimmy Haslam always wanted was collaboration. And his one phrase was internal discord, which he didn't want any part of. Yeah. And when you're the owner of a multi-billion-dollar team like that, you have that right to get things the way you want them. Now, it's kind of like what I was talking about with the culture of the Browns. A lot of people bring up culture. Okay. Well, with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, I liken it to hiring a college coach. When you hire a college coach to bring in to a major university, it usually takes that guy 3 years to purge out what the other guy brought in, okay, and get the system and the players and the coaches that he wants before you really start seeing that program take over. Well, that's kind of what Berry and Stefanski has done. And because they have done it collaboratively, there's no backstabbing, a la what we saw, in the past with Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley. Paul DePodesta is involved, which he's been close to Jimmy. Everybody's pulling in the right direction. And sometimes it doesn't matter if it's the wrong direction or the right direction. As long as everybody's pulling in the same direction, you're going to get results. Okay. And I think that's why we have seen Jimmy not be in a spotlight like we used to see him. He hasn't been at press conferences. You only see it maybe once a year, because I think he finally has the crew that he wanted all along, working collaboratively. And think about where we were roster-wise 3 years ago compared to we are roster-wise today.
Oh, it's
pale in comparison. Okay. So that's why I believe that this organization is definitely headed in the right direction. I can honestly say we have an owner that, and I've told people this in my spaces before, sat at the big boys poker table with the rest of the owners in the NFL and was not afraid to hurt their feelings. Because I think we all know that the NFL owners is a good old boys club. Jimmy got invited into the club, but I don't think they knew what Jimmy was going to do. He anteed up and they didn't like it. But you know what? That's his money. He's allowed to spend it the way he wants to spend it. That's like if Ed's driving a Cadillac and I'm driving a Chevy Citation, I can't be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Haslam stepped up to the big boys poker table. He anteed up and the rest of them didn't like it.
Well, just to kick back a little bit, because, just like spaces, sometimes you got your dissension here.
Sure.
But, I think that when you look at the Browns, it's like a lot of people would argue, and I know I'm trying to be funny here, but they could say that the roster's not as good because Baker's not on it. Shout out to you, Baker bros. We all know it's better. But here's another thing, too, though. Jimmy did something that the owners didn't like by giving Deshaun Watson that contract. But let's be real about the catalyst to why that happened. Baker spurned Jimmy, because they were out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and he got spurned by Baker basically because Baker's like, I don't want to, So that's when he told AB, we're getting on the plane, we're going down to Texas, and we're getting the deal done. Because I think Baker, a little bit of Browns fans should thank Baker for his attitude and his cavalierness and his being basically a punk. Because basically what he did to Jimmy Haslam is the reason why we have Deshaun Watson. I don't think that should ever be overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. It is true.
Hold on. Let me push back on that a little bit because I have a theory on that, actually, Ed. I actually think this is where Deshaun wanted to be all along. Okay. And I think him and his agent played his cards right. I think when the initial offer was made, he initially said no to see if the Browns were going to step up a little bit, because there were other teams out there that were after his services too. Right. What it started out at 16, and I think it got narrowed down to like 5.
Yeah,
the Browns were one of those
Carolina,
5.
A lot of them,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what Deshaun did was I think he played his cards right. You know what? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna see what else is out there. Well, in the midst of that, yes, the Baker Mayfield conveniently got reported. The Baker Mayfield news conveniently got reported. But when the Browns went back to Deshaun and offer them that deal, he gave nobody else a chance to match it. Okay. And I think if it was about the money, if it was purely about the money, I don't know that you would be seeing and hearing the things that you're hearing out of this quarterback about the work that he's putting in and everything else that he's doing and the dedication and determination that he has to get back to what he once was. Because make no mistake, this kid was talked about as a top 5 quarterback. That means something to an individual. And he's kind of been forgotten about in the last couple of years, a la everything that's been going on. I don't even want to talk about any of that. But his determination to get back to who he was and everything else like that means something to him. So that kind of goes along with the money. I get it. Obviously, the money has something to do with it. But at the end of the day, he didn't give anybody else a chance to match it. Because Kevin Stefanski, when he went down to meet him, and Deshaun admitted this himself, was the only person that sat down with him, talked ball, and, oh, by the way, and this takes a lot of cojones to do this, if you're Kevin Stefanski, he literally pointed out to Deshaun the things that he could be better at, the things that he has done wrong. How do you do that when you're recruiting somebody if you're not genuine? you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think all along, this is really where Deshaun wanted to be, but him and his agent played it smart. Do your best to drive the price up as high as you can, just like any other free agent's going to do that. Pit the other two against each other. If that makes sense to you.
It does, because Andy, the reason I keep coming back on here when Andy asks is because he tells me how bad I am. So yeah, and how I can do better. So I'm like Deshaun.
Yeah, cheers to you, Andy. There you go. There you go.
Oh yeah. Cheers to you, Ed. I think
that's kind of how I feel about the situation, Ed. I mean,
Listen.
I understand the opinions and everything else that's been out there, which a lot of them make sense, but that's just kind of the theory I came up with.
That is great stuff. I love hearing that. I think I'm completely on a similar level to you. And listen, you said it earlier. We can't believe everything we're told. Who knows what went down, or we'll never know. At the end of the day, I think it's pretty compelling that he didn't give other teams a chance to match. There were reports out there that the other owners were frustrated, right? So it seems pretty true. We'll never
from
know.
what I understand, Arthur Blank would have cut that check.
Oh yeah, he would have. Yeah.
From what I understand, Arthur. Now think about this for a second. If it was about the money, let's go back everybody loves talking about the money, and I hate that. But all right, let's talk about it for a quick 20 seconds. If it was really about the money, the reports were that I heard that Arthur Blank was willing to cut that check and never got the opportunity to do so. That's Deshaun's hometown.
Yep. Atlanta ATL.
And it's a dome. It's not 13 below zero. Okay. So if winning an organization didn't mean anything to him, why the hell would he be here? I don't think anybody's ever asked that question.
No,
I think everybody's just stuck on, it's $230 million guaranteed. That's why he's here. No, bullshit. Okay, I'm calling bullshit on that, because there are owners out there, a la Arthur Blank, that never got that chance to match it.
Who doesn't want their Range Rover with potholes in the wintertime, BG?
Exactly.
And look, a lot of these other teams that were in the hunt are kind of in I don't know. They don't have the most stable front office coaching staff situation. I know the Browns were a joke, and we've had a lot of failures, and we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about what we are. And the last 2 seasons have been pretty frustrating, but I think this is a very impressive group. I think anytime I hear the Cleveland Browns talking about, front office coaching staff, they seem very confident and believe we're doing something great here. I do kind of think the Browns had the ability to go talk to Deshaun and impress him maybe more than some of these other teams could have, even though he probably wanted to stay in a warmer climate. So I think the Browns really brought their A-team down there, got the job done. There's a whole other component that kind of blew up this franchise for a while, but I am taking, I do not agree with what you said. I don't think, I think they did impress him and talk to him, and they realized this is a good fit. And then we, obviously made the compelling offer, and it got done. Anyway.
Did I say something different than that?
When you, I don't know. I've had a lot of beer.
Okay, I was like, I didn't. What did I say?
It's been a long day.
Okay.
Let's move it along to our little game we like to play on the Dog Chug called Spit Sip Chug. Ed and Columbus helped name this game, so it's going to be good. It's going to be way better than
huge, Brian. Huge.
Okay,
I'm going to make.
I'm not prepared for it, but this ought to be fun.
This is going to be easy. This is easy. I'm going to make a statement. And we're all going to go around the horn. If you strongly agree with the statement that I make, you're going to chug, and you're going to explain why. If you strongly disagree, you're going to spit and explain why. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you're going to sip.
Like Roger does.
And Roger, it's a big show. I want you to be on your A game. So no sipping today. He sips a lot. So we want to make sure you bring your A game. All right. I'm going to start with statement number 1. Roger, we're going right to you. If DTR starts a regular season game in 2023, he'll prove he's worthy of the backup role and continue to excite this fan base. Do you want us to come back to you?
I'm going. No, I'm chugging on it since I can't sip.
Oh my God! If that's a chug, I'm in trouble.
Sure, why not? Yeah, the kid's exciting when he plays. I'm in.
All right. BG, we're going to you.
All right, this is my version of a chug. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's perfect.
The reason why I'm comfortable with DTR as a backup quarterback is there's a couple of things we have to keep in mind. He's a 4-year starter in college, which means he's coming into the league with a little bit of maturity. He played with under Chip Kelly in UCLA, which was also a pro-style system. And the other thing I'll say, and I've said this before, and I know I get a lot of pushback on it because there's not a lot of Kevin Stefanski fans out there. Kevin Stefanski, and there's my cat in the background climbing on my shoulder. Kevin Stefanski has shown the ability over the years, going all the way back to Minnesota, to protect quarterbacks, okay, and put them in the proper position to be successful. DTR is very talented and he's intelligent, and there's my daughter, and I am comfortable with DTR being the backup quarterback. I hope that explains it.
Yeah. That's a great answer, and it's going to be hard to follow that up because I pretty much agree. I'm going to chug. This town loves backup quarterbacks, and Jacoby Brissett did an amazing job with Stefanski. DTR, I think, will come in. If it's like for a game or two, I think he'll be just fine. He'll have some exciting plays. He'll show that he's a rookie a little bit, but we'll be able to tolerate that. Now, if he's playing for like 6 games or more, it'll be tested. But for a short amount of time, I think he will continue to excite his fan base. So I'm chugging. Ed, we're going to come to you last. Is this going to be a sweep?
It is going to be a sweep. I am chugging.
Whoa, we have 4 people.
We are all homers on the dog chug.
This is rare.
But your original statement was DTR will come in and solidify that he is basically worthy enough to be the backup. I think he is already worthy enough. DTR, I am on the DTR train, and here's why. It reminds me a little bit of Baker Mayfield when he first came in. And what I like about this cat is his decision-making. Not about the physical skills, not about anything like that. Baker is nothing compared to an athlete that DTR is. But the fact is he gets the ball out. For a rookie, I know he's played 4 years, Brian, to your point. I think that's what's helped him. But he's come in the preseason. He doesn't look around. He makes his initial reads. He goes through it. He actually can go through his progressions. He knows when to run, when it's time to run. He doesn't do stupid things. I think this cat is he looks like a veteran almost, and he's a rookie. And so I think definitely what more do you want? He's on a rookie contract. Joshua Dobbs, he's out in Arizona, probably going to start out for the Cardinals in week 1. But I don't think DTR has to prove anything. I think he's already proved it. But I think if and when he does come in, he will be ready and able to handle the backup job and win us a game, because that's what backups are supposed to do. Come in and win ball games, and DTR can do that.
All right.
Wow. I'm chugging.
Yeah.
I'm chugging on that. I want to change my answer. I'm inspired.
And I'll give my answer on that one.
Roger, your answer was to chug.
I know. He wants to chug again. It's
right.
Make up for all the sipping he's done in the past.
We get a little sloppy towards the end of the show from all the chugging, but that's what makes us fun. All right. Amari Cooper is going to regress this season from his 2022 numbers. And BG, we're starting with you.
What do I got to do to disagree?
You spit.
There you go.
No, I don't think. Excuse me. I don't think he's going to regress. I think if anything, you'll get the same amount of production out of him this year. He's a reliable route runner. He is definitely an on-time, on-target type receiver. Okay, and there's rhythm there with him and Deshaun also, that we saw, in the preseason a little bit, and the last game, and in the OTAs and the mini camps and so on and so forth. But here's the thing to remember: with Amari's ability to be that elite route runner, and Deshaun's intelligence on how to read defenses and do the things that he does at quarterback, and now Elijah Moore out there as a distraction, and the threats of the running game and the threats of Njoku and DPJ. That's going to make it even easier for Amari to get open. So I think you can get the same production, maybe a little less, and it all depends on where the target share goes to. So yeah, no, I don't think he regresses.
Okay. I'm going to go the opposite on this one. I think he is going to regress. Maybe not so much in the yardage, but he had 9 touchdowns last year, and I think the offense pretty much was going through him the majority of the time. We have so many other targets that I just don't know that he'll be hitting those kind of numbers. So I'm going to say he's going to regress, and I'm going to chug, but I still love the guy, and I'm excited to see him healthy.
Son of a...
Ed.
In pure Roger fashion, I am sipping. Here's why.
Oh, he's in the middle.
Regression is a term that can be, used subjectively, objectively. I don't know. I've been drinking so much. I don't know. Here's the thing. Will his numbers go down in some areas? Probably. But will they go up in other areas? Maybe. The point is this. We have a franchise quarterback that's going to distribute the rock to the other players on the field. And to Andy's point, it won't be all going through Amari Cooper like it kind of did last year. And I think that's a good thing. The offense has, I don't know, what's that word, evolved? And the Browns will be better for it. So if Amari Cooper has to regress in some areas of his personal stats for the benefit of the Cleveland Browns winning football games, I'm more than okay with sipping with that.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that a little bit, I think the efficiency production, I think will still be there. So that's why I kind of disagreed with it.
All right.
BG, I'm hugging
Doesn't
you.
have to be the same numbers.
I'm hugging you down in Florida. Brady, I'm hugging you.
All right, Roger. You can't sip, but you could chug or you could spit.
Man, I don't. I want to. I'm
going on. Who are you going with?
It's such a tough one because I'm going to chug spit.
Okay, that's original.
That's a new one.
Because I think it's just going to be like Andy kind of stole my answer. He probably won't have 9 touchdowns because there's a lot more talent on the offensive side of football. I think it's going to be not through his lack of talent or his own fault. There's just going to be the ball's going to be spread around a lot more. And maybe his numbers won't reach what he had last year. So,
all right.
It won't be a regression on his part or lack of talent or anything like that. It'll just be the wealth is going to be spread. There's a lot more talent around him now, wide receiver room. And I think Njoku and Chubb are going to be the 2 leading guys that are going to lead this team with touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in reality, real quick, there's 3 players on this team, depending on where the target shares go, that are all capable of 1,000 yards plus. That's Cooper, that's Moore, and that's DPJ. I mean, look at the limited. I did a study on DPJ about a month ago or so. And I cannot remember the player it was that I did the study on, but if he would have got that player's target share based upon his averages, DPJ would have had 1,200 yards last year. So I think it just all goes based upon where the target shares go as to who is going to come up with those type of yards. I truly also believe, though, there will be 2 1,000-yard receivers on the Browns this year. Go ahead and mark me down for saying that.
I think so, too. And DPJ, I have this is breakout year. Go blue. I'm a big DPJ guy.
Go blue. I don't know about go blue, but all right. Next subject.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, Roger. Cheers to you.
I will be.
He's going to drink. Now he's going to make me drink.
Be wearing DPJ's jersey to the opener. I love the man. And I'm going to have to wear that as many times as I can because I don't think he's going to be back next year. But that's another.
Get your money's worth.
You got Cedric Tillman, but go ahead.
Yeah, I love Cedric Tillman too. Okay, statement number 3. This might be a spicy one. I can't wait to see what Roger says on this one. Roger usually perks up when we talk about this man. Kenny Pickett was the best quarterback throughout the preseason by a wide margin this offseason, and this will carry over into the regular season and prove he's improved from last season. Now, I am going to start this one, and I am torn because, Steelers always manage to not be as bad as I want them to be. He was pretty bad last year, so I guess improvement is not that hard to do, although I guess he was efficient, right? He didn't have any interceptions. Look, I hate to say it, but I think the Steelers are going to be better. They're not going to be better enough. They're still going to finish in the basement of the AFC North, but he will be better. I don't think he has a long career in the NFL as a starter, but I think he will traject up and throw more touchdown passes than like the 3 he threw last year. So I'm going to chug on this one. Don't like it. Ed.
I guess I'm going to, in Roger fashion, sip. Here's why.
Oh, jeez.
I think Kenny Pickett's going to come out and start the season pretty hot. But here's what's going to happen to old small mitten hands. When the weather gets bad and it's playoff time, which I don't think the Steelers, I think they'll be around 500, but there'll be some good games at the end of the year that'll be in playoff contention and in the hunt. But those small hands lead to fumbles, lead to turnovers, lead to bad things for the Pittsburgh Steelers instead of the Cleveland Browns for once. And I think that's the big difference. I think, when you have a stud, a thoroughbred, like we have in Deshaun Watson, who can, turn on the wheels when we need a first down and make that incredible throw because he is the Michael Jordan of quarterbacks, like Dabo Sweeney said. That's not Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's maybe he's better than Baker Mayfield, but he's on that statue of athlete-wise, I would say. But he's got smaller hands. And you know what? The Steelers are going to come up short, and they can thank Kenny Small Hands Pickett for it. Pick 6, as they call him.
All right.
Are you calling him Kenny Smalls?
Well, he's not Biggie Smalls. He's Kenny
That his
Smalls.
new name is Kenny Smalls.
There you go. I'm calling it Kenny Smalls. You heard it on the dog chug.
Roger.
I got to spit.
Here we go.
First of all, if he wants it to carry over in the right, he's going to have to make 2 or 3 trips because his fucking hands are so small. and improvements. I mean, like Andy said, last year was pretty miserable. You can't get anywhere. It's like Appalachian improvement is going from dating your second cousin to your third cousin so your kids' foreheads ain't so big. That's the Appalachian improvement. I don't know how much better he's going to be from last year. No, who cares what he did in the preseason? No. Spitting.
All right. BG.
That's tough to argue with, Roger.
We just lost the Appalachia viewer.
Okay, I'm gonna do a sip. And that's because I didn't see enough of the preseason with Pittsburgh. I was pretty busy, but I just paid attention to the Browns in preseason. So that first part of the question, I really can't comment on because I didn't see enough of it. But as far as what Kenny Pickett is able to do and what his future may be, I think he's that guy that can win you some games if he's put in the right positions to be effective. I don't know that he's not trash, but not ready to call him, definitely not ready to call him elite. He may have the potential to be that in that middle ground right now as we speak. I question their offensive coordinator. Will he put him in the right positions to be successful? So on and so forth. But I'm never, ever, ever going to overlook a Mike Tomlin-led football team. I can't do it. As much as dare I use the word despise them as a rival, okay, I got to give him that much respect for the record that he has in Pittsburgh and the winning that he has done in Pittsburgh. I know he's had Ben Roethlisberger. I get it. But he also went 8-8 with duck dodges, okay? And that's as I fondly call him. So I'll never underestimate them. And I don't know where I'm at with Kenny Pickett right now. So I'm kind of on the fence.
All right.
The picket fence?
Okay. We're going to move on to...
I think I just made Roger mad.
Do you think I was way off with mine? Was I off? A little off target?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
We value the laughs more than anything.
I'm just saying I'm on the fence with it.
Oh, okay.
I don't
All right. Well,
go
you
with
know
it.
more about football. You know more.
Oh, whoa. Hold on there, my friend. Don't go there. No. That's just an opinion.
No, I can tell you know way more than me.
Yeah, trust us.
Yeah, we don't
trust us.
We're not going to
I
argue.
told you that.
You did a report on DPJ. I did a report on Roger last month, and I don't think he knows anything about football. All right, here we go. Statement number 4, Ed. We're going to start with you. Nick Chubb's production seemed to decline in the 6 games with Deshaun Watson last season, but having a full off season, the Browns will find a way to get Chubb back to playing like an elite running back this season.
Chugging for Chubb. Nick Chubb, just like Rodgers' top 10, said that Nick Chubb will not be in witness protection on third downs this year. Stump Mitchell, the running backs coach, has said that he will be on the field on third downs. That will make him more elite, and as fantasy owners will love him even more. But the Cleveland Browns will still run the ball. I know it's not the King Henry of Tennessee, and it's not the Josh Jacobs of Las Vegas, because we don't have to. We actually have an elite quarterback, and Deshaun Watson's going to do his thing for, like I said, over 4,000 passing yards. But I think Nick Chubb is going to be obviously top 3 in rushing. Hell, he may even win the rushing title. Who knows? Because, but I think that his yards that he's going to get in touchdowns will be actually in the receiving game on third downs. It's going to be fun to watch. So his production is definitely going up. So I am chugging again for Nick Chubb, the best running back in the National Football League. And he's going to do it on third downs this year. It's third down.
Wow. What's in those?
Caffeine and
that?
alcohol. Great.
All
right, Roger.
I'm spitting. Cool. You know what? This is the part of the show I like to clown around, but no. If you didn't notice last year, they didn't do anything with the defensive line. Myles Garrett snaps went down. Nick Chubb, they didn't run him into the ground, and they had no intention of doing it. I think I said something last in January. Nick Chubb's just as fresh as he was in August, in January. And that was intentional. They didn't know what they had at quarterback. I think they thought the defense would hold up and the offense would be struggling last year, and it went the other way. But anyway, Nick Chubb is the best running back in the NFL. He's generational. He's bi-generational. There hasn't been a running back like him since Jim Brown. In Cleveland, he's up there with Walter Payton. Did I disappoint you, Andy? There, in Cleveland. I mean, there's a lot of great backs, but Nick Chubb's up there with those guys. I'm spitting on that.
All right, BG.
Oh, you guys are gonna get me drunk before the show's over. I'm gonna chug
for Chubb.
Huh?
Here is my opinion on Nick Chubb. Really, actually, to the question, I don't think he had a bad year last year. He still had 16, but he had 1,500 yards rushing on 300 carries and still averaged 5.2 yards a carry. However, I don't know that he's going to get the carries that he had this year, but I think his yards per carry, number one, is going to go up. I think he may average 6 yards a carry this year. I honestly do. And I've got reasons for it. Okay. I've made the argument that Nick Chubb is just as important as maybe a wide receiver too on the field. And here's the reason why. When you have an elite running back such as him in the backfield, and you have a quarterback, which I believe it will get back to being a top 5 quarterback because he has the intangibles. He's already proven it. Okay. And I've been saying that I'm hoping for a better version of Deshaun Watson. I don't want the 2020 Deshaun Watson. I want a better version of him. A little bit more mature, a little bit more quicker decision-making, not the gunslinger that he was, because he was a gunslinger back then. And even with that, as a gunslinger, he still didn't throw a lot of interceptions. And then recently, Kevin Stefanski was asked the same question. Do you expect Deshaun Watson to get back to his 2020 form? Kevin Stefanski goes, no, we want him to be the 2023 Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns. And I think that's going to get there. So just to round up my point real quick, when you have that kind of quarterback and you have that elite caliber running back, that will keep defensive coordinators up all night until they play that game. For the simple reason is you can prepare for a passing game. You can prepare for a running game as a defensive coordinator. But when you have to prepare for both at an elite level. And let's face it, there's not a lot of defenses out there that have those type of resources to do that with. But even the ones that do have those resources to do that with, defend both the run and the pass at an elite level, it stretches that defense so thin, there are going to be holes open all over the field. So I'm going to throw a stat at you from last year. Nick Chubb versus a stacked box, which is basically your 8-man in a box, on 63 carries, let this sink in, averaged almost 7 yards a carry. It was like 6.7 or something yards per carry. What is it going to be like against a non-stack box? What is it? Play action, we all know in the NFL is a weapon, right? But when you have an elite running back, it's a lethal weapon. Because if you don't pay attention to it, the dude's going to rip 12 yards off on you.
BG,
It's not even a problem.
I'm going to chug for that, just for that stat right there.
So, I expect big things out of Nick Chubb on less carries, by the way.
Yep.
So,
right.
Sorry to get long-winded on that, but
no. Hey,
Well, I got the chug again. It was good.
yeah, it's been a spirited debate over Nick Chubb, and I mean, I can literally lay it all out why he is every bit of important as a wide receiver too at the running back position. But there's only one thing: you've got to be that damn good. Go back. The only example I'll give you: go back and look at the Dallas Cowboys of Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Elvin Harper, and Jay Novacek. Go look at that offense, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I want to go to the White House.
Yeah. See, I spit on him declining. I don't even think he declined last year. I just,
Again, sorry to get long-winded with that.
No,
And if
we're here to listen to you talk. This is amazing. Go as long as we'll be on till 3 a.m.
If you're a Cowboys fan, you understand that White House reference.
I don't think I have that much beer to drink till 3 o'clock in the morning, but that's okay. I'll give it a shot.
I can run some down. I've got plenty over there. All right, I got to answer this one. It's hard to follow. You've answered that so eloquently. I think Nick Chubb had an awesome season last year, but I did get the impression that maybe things were a little bit of a mess during those 6 games when Deshaun got back. But I think that was just a sign of what was going on with everything. It's a disappointing season. They had a lot of moving parts. Whatever, it didn't come together. It looked really good against half of Washington, right? But other than that, I expect it to be day and night. And
you know what, Andy? Can I say something real quick on
sure,
the mess?
please.
Because that has been a hot topic, especially on the radio. Everybody's judging Deshaun off of 6 games.
You can't do that.
But let me throw a stat at you. Okay, I'd have to look it back up on my phone, but I know I'm going to be damn close with these numbers. I was listening to a couple of people on the radio that I trust, Jim Miller and Pat Kerwin, and Jim Miller pointed out a statistic that I didn't even know about. Okay, in the 6 games Deshaun played last year versus the Blitz. Now, mind you, we're talking about a quarterback that hasn't played in 700 days, really didn't have an OTA, really didn't have a training camp, had 0 of a preseason, all of the circus that was around him in his head and everything else like that. Last year against the Blitz, he had 139 quarterback rating.
Damn.
Wow.
70% completion rate, or 74% completion ratio on 3 touchdowns versus the Blitz.
That blows my mind.
Now, we're talking about a kid that everybody deems to say looks like shit, okay, in 6 games. But nobody talks about that. And I promise you, I went back and I looked because doing my spaces, I promised my listeners that I was going to go back and evaluate the 6 games that he played, because a lot of times when we watch those games live, we're in our feelings, we're in our emotions, and we miss. Right, and we miss a lot of things.
When you rewatch it, it's like watching you're like blown away that it's a completely different experience than you remember.
Exactly.
Right?
So I went back and I watched it with emotion. And I remember the video that Warren Sharp put out about all of Deshaun's bad throws. Well, but see what he didn't do, and which if I had the ability to do it, I could have done it, but I'm not that tech savvy. But going back and watching all those games, For every bad throw he made, I could point out a good throw he made. For every bad decision that he made, I could point out a good decision he made. Like, I'll give you one quick example, and there's many of them. It was a pass play. They were set up to pass the football. You could tell just by the formation, and you can tell he checked out of the game. It was in the Cincinnati game, by the way. He checked out of the play into a run. Chubb ripped off 12 yards. Now, how did that happen? Obviously, he was able to read the defense that was in front of him. But see, these are the things, going back to what I was talking about with the radio.
Sure.
These are the things that are not pointed out.
Yep.
So, sorry to take up that. Go ahead.
No. And you said Deshaun played like crap last year, according to some fans, and I think that's completely unfair. I think the problem with the 6 games is you saw so many plays that were like blowing my mind with the potential of what this could be, and then you saw frustrating plays as well. And it was hard to process it all. I think
there's no denying he made bad throws. There's no denying he made bad reads.
Yeah.
Like in the Cincinnati game, had he not thrown that interception when they were in the red zone, we may have had a chance to probably win that game because it would have changed the momentum all the way. But he got fooled by the linebacker. He dropped back into soft coverage and was right there to make the play. But see, that's to be expected of somebody that hasn't played in 700 days. I'll give you a real quick example.
Not to mention, going through what he was going through. Like every day,
absolutely.
Everyone was saying horrible, horrible things about him and trying to pretend like that's not affecting you, but of course it is. Oh my God.
I mean, absolutely. Like this is a small scale. Obviously, it's pale in comparison to being an NFL quarterback. But this is what I mean about staying away from something for so long. I used to bowl in leagues and I used to bowl in tournaments a lot. I held a 219 average. Okay. Well, I moved to Florida, didn't bowl for like 4 years. I still have my equipment, everything else like that. A friend of mine said, "Hey man, there's a shootout down at this alley in Bradenton. Why don't you come down?" I said, "Okay." Now I haven't picked up a bowling ball in like 4 years. I had a 219 average. Do you know the highest game I rolled in 3 games was a 179? Now, if anybody knows anything about bowling, for a 219 average, that's not very good. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I haven't done it. And it's like anything else in your livelihood. Whatever job you have, if you're away from that job for so long, it's going to take you a minute.
That's how I feel when I come on in the dog chug sometimes.
To get back in the seat. There you go, Ed.
Yeah.
There you go.
People get on me, and it's like I'm warming up now.
I think last season, those 6 games that he played, and number one, there was an offense he was running that wasn't really geared to him. It was geared to a much different style quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. You can't reteach the entire 10 other guys on the offense a whole system for Deshaun to take over that he would. When you send a guy like Quantrill to Columbus or Akron, the Rubber Ducks are still trying to win that game, but Quantrill's out there working on the curveball, and he's going to get shelled for 9 runs.
Yep.
I think last year, Stefanski, they were going through the system, going through the offense that was there, and seeing what Deshaun liked, what he didn't like, regardless of what was happening around the game. Kind of like you see a pitcher or a player go in and play some minor league ball. These kids are trying to win the game, and this reliever's working on his fastball, and the other lineup knows he's working on the fastball. You know what I mean? And I think that's what those 6 games were last year. To kind of, you can't go by those, not by
Well, absolutely. And to that point, Roger, I've been preaching this too. That was a 6-week preseason for Deshaun, and I believe that Stefanski was purposely calling plays for him to see what they could do in the offseason with
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Put things on tape in a Cleveland Browns uniform.
See what he can
not
do.
a Houston, Texas uniform, right? Okay,
Yep.
that's the first thing.
And
the second thing I've been preaching is with Jacoby, that was a 3-second offense. Now, what I mean by a 3-second offense is run your route, ball's coming out.
Because he came, with under Tom Brady, 3-second offense. When he first came up, where did he play? New England on a 3-second offense.
Well, it's not only that, but Jacoby, let's face it, no shade at him. I thought he did a phenomenal job for us last year. realistically, our defense doesn't play like ass.
Oh, it's horrible.
I mean, he should have been 7-4 before even Deshaun took over. However,
top 10 offense.
Exactly. However, with that being said, he's not that guy that's going to extend plays.
Hey, now.
Now, when Deshaun came back, he was extending plays, and the receivers and the line weren't used to that.
They're not used to it. They had no idea what to do.
Illegal man downfield, holding. You know.
Well, there
to
you
that-
go.
To that point, how awesome was it against Kansas City to see the receivers to keep running their routes when Deshaun could extend a play, and then he had some big plays.
They
was
hit that big one down the sideline.
And that's where the continuity comes into with all the work that they've been putting into the preseason, which goes all the way back to something I said at the beginning of the show. It's not about the money, boys. It's not about the money. Deshaun is here to win. He's putting in the work.
When you watch those plays, how like every Browns fan remembers what it felt like to see Ben Roethlisberger almost get tackled 6 times and then throw a 30-yard strike on 13 or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we can have that. That's awesome.
And to wrap up everything I just said, think about everything we just talked about. Think about everything that went wrong and everything that went possibly right that nobody really recognized. The kid still went 3-3.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he went 3-3. So,
That's one more win than Johnny Manziel.
I mean, I don't think you can't count the Houston game. That's not a win.
Hey, your record is what you are.
That is like Bill Parcells always said. You are what your record says you
All
are.
right. We got one more little bit. If you have like 10 more minutes.
Oh, I got all the time you need, bro.
Okay. We're going to bring Judge Sherry back on. Judge Sherry, welcome back to
Yeah.
the Dog.
Hello.
Hi, Sherry.
Welcome.
So Sherry's gonna judge the quality of your answers. Some of they're gonna be silly questions about spaces. Some of them are gonna just be putting your ass on the line for the Cleveland Browns season. You got 7. If Sherry thinks you did well enough on 4 of them, you are going to be in the running to win a Hamid shirt. And I think it's pretty likely a win one because I don't know. I think we only have Ed didn't win one today.
Do I have a chance to win this one?
Yes.
All right.
So the first one is so you're doing a spaces and it's a big one. You got a lot of people coming in. And then all of a sudden Ed in Columbus comes in, you give him the raise his hand, you give him a chance to speak, and he just won't stop talking, cutting people off. How do you handle that? As the admin of the spaces.
So that's to me?
No.
BG.
Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, as the
Well, I mean,
admin of the spaces, you don't want to offend Ed, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're making a quality product for your audience. So what do you do?
it's Ed in Columbus, and he's a famous star. But if he's being severely entertaining, excuse me, and the crowd is loving it. I mean, you let Ed.
Well,
roll.
this is what I'm saying. The crowd's
The crowd will love it. The
They
crowd
will
will
love
love
it.
it.
Yes,
So
they will.
okay, wait a minute, Andy. Is the crowd loving it, or is the crowd not loving
The
it?
thing is, he's getting to the point where it's becoming obnoxious, and you could see people leaving your spaces.
Then I got to start making fun of Ed and switch the topic.
Confuse them.
That's a
Nice.
great answer.
Sherry,
graciously minded.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Wow. Look at the
That's a-
respect, Ed. Huh?
rational and fair way to go about if you want to keep people in your spaces, keep them. If you don't, kick them out. Be respectful.
all right, you are on the board.
All right.
Next question: which team's going to win the AFC North?
Me?
Yeah. There's all you, BG.
I'm rolling with the Browns, bro. I mean, if you look at it from top to bottom, the roster, the defensive line, the receivers, the defensive. First of all, let me just say this. I am more excited to watch this defense play than Deshaun Watson. If you really want to get real talk, I am more excited for that than I am to watch the offense. So, yeah, I'm rolling with the Browns.
100% with you. They look mind-blowingly amazing in the preseason. Like I don't think it's getting talked about 1/10 enough.
We
How
haven't
good
seen Myles Garrett with it yet. Think about that.
exactly. That's the most exciting part. Sherry,
Yeah, no, I mean, be rational. You got to tone down being passionate. I mean, everything that you gentlemen spoke about previously. I'm going BG. That's a beautiful point.
Why, thank you.
Okay. So you're hosting a space. It's a big one. And someone comes on that's really eager to talk, and you know they have great takes because, you tweet with them. But the problem is, on the spaces, they only say one word every 5 seconds, and the crowd starts getting testy. How do you handle that one?
Okay. I have had people that have come into my spaces that see, now how do I say this and not sound no, I'm serious. I'm trying to be as delicate with this answer as possible.
I apologize. I like to
Write it down, and I'll say it as obnoxious.
Yeah, Roger.
Well,
say anything.
no. But what you're saying is, I've had people that come in that have had God, I don't know what word I need to use without sounding offending. I there's not a word I could use not to sound offensive, but with
whisper it to me, and I'll say it.
With okay, here's how I'll say it. Here's how I'll say it.
Unnerving.
There has been people.
Unnerving.
No. There has been people that come into my spaces with reasons for why they can only speak the way they speak. Do you understand where I'm going?
Sure.
And out of respect for those people, I will give them the time that they need to get their point across. Because if you make fun of that person, that's going to offend me, because I know there's a reason why that person is the way they're speaking. And I think that is to be respected, because I think that takes a lot of courage for people to come up and speak when they know it. Do I need to go on? I have a lot of admiration, and I think that should be respected by people that have that kind of that have that that's it. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure do.
I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, because look, I'm a guy who respects everybody. I put it in a thread a couple of weeks ago. You give me I'll give you respect first. When you give it back to me, I'm going to give it back to you double.
Right.
That's just how I roll. So
that's rational. That makes sense.
I hope that answered your question without being too disrespectful to him.
No, that was
That was great. Yeah.
And if you ever want to just go off on somebody, just write it down, and I'll say it. Andy does it every Wednesday.
You'll be my
I'll just
bodyguard.
read it. I'll read anything.
All right, Roger will be my bodyguard from now on. There you go.
All right, Cherry, I'm thinking that gets a pass because that was good, right?
That was
Okay. Will Kevin Stefanski get re-signed this offseason?
Absolutely not. It's not even a question. Next question.
All right, absolutely. Wait, absolutely not?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, thank God.
I think what's going to happen, honestly, here's what I think is going to happen. I think people are going to finally understand what you actually have as a head coach going forward, because you're talking about a guy who, let's face it, his first ever coaching job, head coaching job, was in 2020. No, I don't think anybody realizes he never even had an opportunity to shake any of his players' hands. He had to meet everybody over Zoom. He had to install an offense over Zoom. He had to bring his whole organization, coaching staff, and everything else over Zoom.
He's too sexy not to touch.
Well, there you go. He went into his very first game ever coached and got blown out by the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, it was terrible.
But yet finished 11-5.
Yep.
Went to the playoffs, damn near got to the AFC Championship game. So overall, now the 2021 season was the season of the Baker Mayfield contract and him going rogue. We had the OBJ situation. There was another whatever in the locker room. 2022, I mean, come on. Let's not talk about that, right? But yet, let me point some things out about Kevin Stefanski. In his first 3 years as a head coach, in the first 4 games, follow me now, do the math. He's 8-4. In the first quarter of that season total, he's 8-4. Coming out of those off seasons and preseasons with turmoil, he had his teams ready to play, and literally should be 9-3 if they don't blow the Jet game last year. And I don't want to talk about that either. But put that in perspective, okay? Not only that, he is one game. I know it's only one game, but he's one game above 500 in the division, ladies and gentlemen. With a division that had Ben Roethlisberger at one time, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, he has had Mo, Larry, and Curly at quarterback. He's one game above 500 in the division. Okay? Wow. He's 2 games above 500 overall. Again, with Mo, Larry, and Curly at quarterback, and all of the situations and all of the adversity and everything else like that. You have a solid guy and head coach. And here's how I'll wrap up my point. The great Bill Callahan. I think we all have mad respect for him, right? Agreed?
Mad respect. Mad.
Okay.
Mad. Yes, mad.
Bill Callahan got offered a job this past off season. Turned it down and signed an extension to coach under Kevin Stefanski. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
You're right. Nobody.
BG talks about it, and you can check BG out in spaces because he does a heck of a job.
Well, these are the things that aren't talked about on the radio, going back to my beef earlier. All we want to do is sit on the negative, and we want to run on the negative narrative, which what does that do? With the power of the microphone, that sets the mindset of the fan base. And that's why I try to do what I try to do. I try to bring a different perspective to it and a different voice to it to maybe try to find some balance.
Love it.
You got me. You got me wanting to put.
But if
I'm
you
gonna
go back
come in
and
here
you look at all
and-
those things I said about Kevin Stefanski, you'll see it's true.
You got me wanting to put him on an airplane to Arizona right after he wins the Super Bowl to coach the Guardians.
You're calling me to come on. I'm going to come on your spaces, and I'm going to say, one word every 5 seconds of it. You're going to have to find a delicate way to get rid of it.
Don't worry, Andy. I'm going to talk over you in that space. Don't worry about it. It'll be all good.
All right.
You guys are wild.
Okay.
You're always welcome, and you know it, Ed, especially you.
All right. This is a tough one. How would you handle? Okay, so Cleveland Browns, a prominent member of the Cleveland Browns, agrees to come on your spaces during the bye week, and you really hype it up, and you get a huge following. He comes on, and he's dropping all kinds of great information about the Browns, the locker room, whatever. It's super fascinating, but for some reason, he is choosing to use some cancel culture type words like the N-bomb and the F word that we don't can't say that. How would you handle that?
Well, first of all, that goes on in spaces all the time.
Ooh.
Second of all, I'm not going to ever tell anybody how to think, feel, or act. Okay.
So,
everybody has a right as an individual
would you feel
to express themselves the way they want to express themselves.
Would you feel the urge to protect him from himself? Because if that gets out, it's gonna probably.
Well, no. It all depends. Okay. It all depends on the conversation. It all depends on the topic. It all depends on the discussion. If I need to try to, help protect somebody from themselves, there's ways to do it. There's elegant ways to do it where you can either change the topic, change the conversation, change the mindset, so on and so forth. But a lot of times I don't really feel the need to do that. Because again, I'll never tell anybody how to think, feel, or act or what to say. Everybody as an individual has that right to do that.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, you have to stand for who you are and who yourself and be responsible and accountable for your own actions. So it never has anything to do with me or anything else to do with anything else. So to be a corrector, no, I don't try to be that. To try to help people out and get them maybe off of an avenue they shouldn't be on. Yeah, maybe, but I try to be as fair as possible with everybody. I hope that answered your question.
That's fantastic. Sherry?
Absolutely answered my question.
Phenomenal. Free speech. Yeah. I love it. All right. We've kind of already answered this one. So I was going to ask who will carry the Browns this season, the offense or the defense. Obviously, you're going to say defense here, I believe. So I'm going to pivot. Will the Browns beat the Bengals in 11 days?
So. I think so. Yes. The Cincinnati Bengals are notorious for starting off slow. Joe Burrow, 2 years in a row now, has had no offseason, no preseason. If you look at what they did against Pittsburgh last year, coming out of the gate with Joe Burrow having no preseason, no snaps, and no nothing, but a week or two to get ready for the game, they started off slow. Again, look, I don't care how seasoned you are as a quarterback and receivers, rhythm and timing in the passing game is the key thing. I harp on that almost every time I talk about it. Rhythm and timing in the passing game. If you go back and you look at the guys like Tom Brady, and if you look at the guys like Peyton Manning, they sucked up all the reps, every opportunity, every chance they got because they understood, and that's just recent bias, recent history, by the way. I mean, I can go back in time, but I'll just use those two as an example. To be short, that is the reason why they were as great as they are, because they knew how important rhythm and timing in the passing game is. When you don't have that, you're naturally going to struggle until it starts to come around. With the way the defense is going to play this year, and I expect them to come out like for a lack of better terms, a pack of wild dogs, because I sense an excitement on that side of the ball. Your defensive backs have had the leash taken off of them to do the things that they know how to do, that they were, born to do. Your defensive line is thirsty. They want to play fast. I've heard Shelby Harris. I heard Delvin Tomlinson. And I've heard Zadarius Smith say the same thing. This is a lineman's dream to play in this system. And, I mean, just Zadarius Smith himself said, I've been in the NFL 8 years. I've never had an opportunity to do this.
Wow.
So there's an excitement on that side of the football. And I expect them to come out, like I said, like a pack of wild dogs, and I expect it to be a sight to see. So, yes, I do think they beat Cincinnati with one.
By the way, that's the Darius Smith highlight where he just destroys the offensive lineman that was trying to block him. Oh, my God.
Kansas City? Yeah. Pancaked them.
All right. We got two more. How would you handle Roger, someone that you admire, wants to join your space? You know he's a nice guy. He's very respectful. You're a fan of his. But as soon as he gets into the space, he just constantly is yelling, I can't hear. What? I can't hear what you said.
That happens often because the stupid app tweaks out. Okay. So I would probably either have somebody else that he can hear and he can't hear me, drop him, bring him back up, and it usually reboots.
No, he just can't hear.
No, this is going to continue. This will continue on even after he reboots.
But the good news is eventually he'll fall asleep, so you don't have to worry.
Roger, I will do everything in my power to take care of you, my friend. There's my answer.
All right.
What?
Last question.
Look at him. What? Yeah, okay. Or
Jerry,
Verizon commercial.
It's
Can you hear me now?
you know what, man? I listened the other night. I was going to click in and talk, but I backed out. But I'm going to pop back in at some point, and I'm going to hit the button and get in line.
Always welcome.
What? All right, last question. Who will be the Browns MVP this season?
Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, and by the way, Sherry, you did give him a passing grade on that last one. Yeah?
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a full.
That's tough.
It is tough. Look,
That-
coming on the dog chug, it's not, it's
I
not
mean,
the win.
naturally on the surface, if Deshaun comes out and does what he knows how to do, naturally on the surface, it would
He's
be
a top 5 quarterback. Easy.
right. Yeah. I mean, naturally it would be him. But I don't know that you could take away the contributions of a Nick Chubb, a Myles Garrett, a Zadarius Smith, a Denzel Ward. So, I mean, if you just want to go with, and I hate this on the surface answer, it would have to be Deshaun, but I would caution people to pay attention to the contributions of the rest of the team as well. I think it's deserved. I think it's deserved across the board equally.
Just say Dustin Hopkins. You know you want to.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right,
We
Jerry.
almost went the whole show without talking about a kicker.
Oh.
No, we had
He's a football player, not just a kicker.
Sherry.
Yes.
All right, you win. You got every round, so you are in the running for a homage shirt. Well,
Wow, thank you.
All
right,
me and you, Brian.
I want to bring up one more thing, just in the, I don't know, Like I don't listen to the radio a ton these days, but I was listening Tuesday. And they talked on the radio a lot about the decision to play Denzel Ward against Kansas City, which caused him to get concussed, and why in the hell is the coach deciding Denzel Ward needs to play against Kansas City's third and fourth stringers? And they were like extremely critical to the point I'm like, I don't really want to listen to this anymore because this is kind of annoying. If I came onto the spaces after that, what would I hear?
My opinion on this is you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. There's a segment of people out there that are going to complain you didn't play your starters. They need the reps. It's a new defense. It's this, it's that, it's blah, blah, blah. And then there's a segment of people out there that are going to say, well, I think they should all rest. They're too important. They're savvy. They're veterans. They're this, they're that. You're never going to win that argument. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to armchair and Monday morning quarterback it, okay, and jump on the obvious instead of actually standing behind what you believe. So I don't know what they actually believed. And I know it's an entertainment business. I know it's a rating business. I know it's this. I know it's that. But for me, again, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I am on the side of playing them, okay, for the simple reason is, again, it's a new defense. It's a new system. It just like the passing game and rhythm and timing, there's rhythm and timing there as well. Okay, and if you're coming out and you've got these first 4 games, we all know what this schedule looks like. 3 division games in the first 4. You better come out crisp. You better come out strong because like in baseball, Roger, you'll know this when I say this, you don't win the World Series in April and May, but you sure as hell can lose it. Yep. So this is like the beginning of the first quarter of the season. You're not going to make the playoffs, but you sure as hell can miss it. So I am in favor of playing your guys limited reps. Obviously, not going to play them all 60 minutes. I get that, but it's football. Shit's going to happen. What are you going to do?
Would you play Myles Garrett or Nick Chubb, for example?
Okay, now Myles Garrett's a little different, okay, because Myles Garrett is a different position. The secondary was a mess last year. Yeah. All right, now when we're talking about Myles Garrett, we're talking about a guy. Okay, and I got into this debate about Nick Bosa and TJ Watt. Okay, when you break down Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, and Myles Garrett, you're splitting hairs because they're all elite. All of them are elite. Okay, but the one thing that separates Myles Garrett from the conversation is Nick Bosa has had Armstead, Buckner, Warner, just a tremendous defensive line and scheme in San Francisco since he's been there. If you look at TJ Watt, he's had Hayward, he's had Tuitt, he's had Highsmith, he's had Dupree, and a tremendous scheme in Pittsburgh. If you look at Myles Garrett, please tell me what he has had.
Taki.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what separates him from the conversation. And he's also every year been in amongst the sack leaders every year.
For some reason, they don't call holding plays correctly on him. And every time he has his burst the second to play a snap, they call him offsides.
Right. Last year, the man had 16 sacks. He missed, 3 games? So when you talk about Myles Garrett in the position that he plays, no, he doesn't need to play. But the secondary needed to play.
They needed to play.
You got a new safety. You got 2 new safeties. Okay. You got a new scheme, so on and so forth. Yeah, they needed to get that rhythm and timing playing together. So there's no question they should have played. Nick Chubb, are we for real? No. I mean, is that even a conversation if he should have played?
No.
So there's my answer.
Now, I think with Ward, he's got to be smart. You can't be torpedoing in to tackle a runner in a preseason game, in a game that doesn't matter. I don't know if they needed to tell him that.
Is that the hit he got hurt on?
As soon as he did it, I knew the minute he did it, he come torpedoing in, hit a guy in the shins. It was an impact hit with his helmet. Instantly, I knew he was going to end up on the
I mean, I don't want to.
Instantly.
I don't
And
want
he's,
to.
and he's fine. He was back today in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to defend it.
You got to be smarter.
But
You know, get your work in, but you're not out there trying to stop a guy from making a first down.
He didn't learn that at Ohio
game,
State.
you know.
He didn't because we don't hit at Ohio State.
I totally 100% understand where you're coming from, Raj. But it's kind of hard to decompress a player's aggression.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Deshaun Watson clearly tried to block someone during that Kansas City game, and it let up a little
He's
bit.
a Buckeye. He knows how to take plays off.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Cheers! There you go. See, there you go. Cheers,
Roger.
Hey, I may call him hospital ward, but he's worth every nickel, even if he plays 13 games. He's got to play smart. He's got to be healthy. He's an elite cornerback. I'm glad we have him, but he's got to use his head.
No debate.
Well,
No
not
debate.
his head the way that he used it last time.
Pause.
All right.
Not like right. Don't use it the way you've been using it.
Not literally use
Jesus.
your head.
Right.
For all my younger listeners out there, they may be
And
listening.
again, that's a state school education. It may take a while to sink in.
Best public
Something.
education in the state of Ohio, the Ohio State University.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been one of our longer shows in quite a while, but it's been
sorry about that.
No. It's been such fascinating discussion that I want this to go on for 4 hours. Brian, thank you so much for coming on. This has been
Awesome.
one of my favorite shows. I can't wait to come into a space and check it out because
It's been my
what
honor.
you're
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm
You're
coming in
doing
all
the
the
God's
time
work.
now.
I get so frustrated sometimes listening to talk radio. I mean, Ken Carmen's awesome, but outside of him, it can get really frustrating. So to get some good Browns discussion, I love what your mission is. Judge Sherry, come on here and you just judge the hell out of
No, I mean, someone who grew up in Florida and knows nothing about the Browns, and to have you as a resource down there is like a Browns dream come true. Like I grew up listening to the Dolphins and didn't know anything about them, and good for them. They did good when I was a little kid, but I didn't, pay attention
Now you're
a lot later
here.
on in life. So,
That's team. Ed, thank you so much for sitting in the Ross chair. I hope you're coming back on the Dog Jug soon. You bring an energy to the show we just don't have without you, bud.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank BG. You're my guy. Like I said, in Spaces, check him out. In the BG in the mornings, I always see that. I got to check myself in because that's a great show. Roger, you're awesome as always. Sherry, thank you for judging. I knew how it was going to go. Sorry if I got testy, but I'm just used to it.
We
And Andy-
knew it, and that's what we planned. We hoped you would.
Yeah,
And I got-
and great new segment. Chug the interruption. I just want to say one thing. Roger, you had all the softballs. You had all the softballs tonight. What was I supposed to say? So the Browns going to finish 30th. They're not going to finish better. What am I supposed to say?
And I got to shout out Roger because he was the one that actually reached out to me about this and proposed it. And Roger, I can't thank you enough, my friend. You've got my number. Let's keep in contact. Let's keep connected. And
You're coming back on Dog Chug. You're going to be a regular. We're going to bring you in. You text me and say, "Hey, I want to stop in. I got 10 minutes or something I want to say."
Do a live
coming on
space
Dog
on the
Chug,
Dog
man.
Chug. Do a
50
live space.
You're
Anytime
going
you
to
guys
be,
need
man.
me.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and you were awesome tonight. I want to, you know what? I'm thinking about leaving here. You want to do a podcast with me next year?
You know what? Real talk, though, for real, guys, I've had a lot of offers to do this, and this is the first one I've actually accepted. So I really, really am honored to be
We
here.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
It means so much that
Phenomenal.
you messed up and did our dumb show when you could have been on some actual good show.
It was a great show, fellas. Thank you. So
It
much.
was a great show. Thank you for pulling all the weights. Anyway, I was saying goodbye to everyone. Roger, thank you so much. Everyone that is tuning in tonight for the first time on the Dog Chug, Roger is a big Michigan fan. So if you have any thoughts about that, you can just reach out to him directly. He's a great guy. I'm sure you'll love to say hi. Other than that, I think this has been fun. So, let's go Browns. 11 days. Chug them if you got them.
Cheers.
11-6.
Go Browns.